You have 7 doors inside you, 7 energy centers, 7 invisible control points from which your entire life is being directed. You think you make decisions. You think you fall in love. You think you are afraid. But the truth is, it isn't you. Your chakras are operating. And until you understand them, you will never truly understand yourself. The first door sits at the very base of your spine. This is the root of existence, the center of survival, the place where your deepest fear lives. Will I survive? This is why when money feels uncertain, when your job feels unstable, when a relationship falls apart, you feel anxiety in your body, that tightness, that restlessness. That isn't just psychological, it's energetic. It's your survival center reacting. The second center lives near your sexual organs. This is the center of creation, desire, and sexuality. Look at ancient civilizations. Look at early sacred symbols. Why were fertility symbols worshipped? Because human consciousness at that time was largely operating from this center. When energy stays trapped in the lower centers, even God becomes an extension of desire. Prayer becomes negotiation. Religion becomes a transaction. Energy is not wrong. Direction is. The same energy that becomes lust at the lower level becomes creativity at a higher level. It becomes art. It becomes innovation. It becomes compassion. But if someone remains stuck there, their entire life revolves around pleasure, attraction, validation. Their morality, their beliefs, their identity, all shaped by that one center. Then comes the navel center. This is where the real psychological game begins. When you feel sudden fear, where do you feel it? In your stomach. When anxiety rises, why does digestion suffer? When you receive shocking news, where does it hit first? Your gut. Because this is the center of fear. A person who lives in constant fear destabilizes this center. Their body becomes tense. Their system becomes acidic. Slowly, fear begins to control their thinking. And look carefully, most systems of control in history were built on fear. If you don't obey, you'll be punished. If you don't believe, you'll suffer. If you don't follow, you'll lose. That is fear-based consciousness. When someone folds their hands and prays out of terror, their gut center is activated. Fear gathers crowds faster than freedom ever will. That is why fear-based messages spread quickly. But warriors were trained differently. They were taught breath control. They were trained to stabilize their core. Because once you are centered in your gut, fear cannot control you. Then comes the heart, the center of love, attachment, connection. Why do families form? Why does someone sacrifice for another? Because the heart is active. But the same heart that can liberate you can also imprison you. Balanced love sets you free. Imbalanced love clings. Today, relationships are collapsing not because people don't think, but because they don't feel deeply. Connections are based on convenience, on ideology, on utility, not heart. When the heart weakens, relationships become contracts. Then comes the throat, expression, communication, thought. Those with an overactive throat center speak endlessly. They analyze, they debate, they argue, but they rarely act. They live in opinions, not experience. This is why silence is powerful. Until the throat becomes quiet, energy cannot rise higher. And now we reach the revolutionary center, the one between your eyebrows, the command center, the decision point, the place of willpower. Every day you make promises. I'll wake up early. I'll start working out. I won't lose my temper. And yet you don't follow through. Why? Because your command center is weak. When someone makes a decision from this center, it is not a wish. It is an internal command. And when energy commands, the body obeys, the mind obeys. Even circumstances begin to shift. But society does not want strong decision makers. From childhood, we are told what to do. Do this, don't do that, be this. We are rarely taught how to think independently, how to command ourselves. So the decision center never fully develops. We grow up waiting for instructions from leaders, from influencers, from systems. And then we wonder why we feel powerless, because the command center is weak. Above all of this is the final center, crown consciousness. When energy reaches here, a person is no longer limited. They are no longer part of the herd. They become independent awareness. But to reach that level, you must move through the lower centers consciously, not suppress them, understand them. Suppression is dangerous. What you repress distorts itself, but what you understand transforms. So what should you do? First, identify where you are stuck. If your life is driven by fear, work on your gut. If you are consumed by desire, learn to redirect that energy upward. If you cannot follow through on decisions, strengthen your command center. Start small, make tiny promises, and keep them, no matter how small. When you respect your word, your energy begins to respect you. And remember, this is not about religion. This is an inner journey. Blind belief is not required. In fact, blind belief blocks higher awareness. Belief is easy. Thinking is hard. Following the crowd is easy. Praying in fear is easy. Living fearlessly is hard. But if you truly understand these 7 inner doors, your entire life can change. You won't need an external revolution. The inner revolution will be enough. So, ask yourself honestly, which center are you living from? Fear, desire, attachment, or willpower? The day you begin making decisions from the space between your eyes, your losing will stop. Your procrastination will end. You will no longer be part of the herd. You are energy, and when energy awakens, the impossible becomes possible. If you truly want to transform, in the next video, we will go deep into one subject only: how to strengthen your command center in 21 days. But tonight, before you sleep, place gentle awareness between your eyebrows and make one small promise to yourself. One promise you will not break tomorrow. That is where it begins. The inner revolution begins there.